The Guild is Maximum Lawyers' community of legal entrepreneurs who are taking their businesses and lives to the next level. As a Guild member, you'll build relationships, be held accountable, and learn strategies specifically designed to get you unstuck and accelerate your plan for growth. Members are also granted exclusive access to masterminds hosted around the country. Our next event is coming up, and we're heading to Scottsdale, Arizona. There's something truly magical about the power of these in-person connections where real-time breakthroughs happen. Picture this. You're surrounded by like-minded law firm owners tackling your business and mindset challenges together. The energy is electric, the insights are transformative, and the results are game-changing. Investing in yourself is the best decision you'll ever make. The knowledge, strategies, and breakthroughs you'll gain are priceless assets that will supercharge your practice and propel you forward. Join the Guild and secure your ticket to Scottsdale at the best possible price by visiting maxlawevents.com.
Run your law firm the right way. This is the Maximum Lawyer Podcast. Your hosts, Jim Hacking and Tyson Mutrux. Let's partner up and maximize your firm. Welcome to the show.
Welcome back to the Maximum Lawyer Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Hacking.
And I'm Tyson Mutrux.
Tyson, how are you, sir?
I am good. What's going on with you?
I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio today. I did something I never did before. I ran across a bridge to Kentucky, and I ran back. It was a great little route. The Weston gives you these little cards with a map of where you can run, and it was a nice little 3-miler.
You know, we were just talking about Weston, how that is a great thing. Whenever we were in Arizona, I stayed at the Weston with you, and they had those little maps that give you. It's really cool. They give you the bottles of water. They let you. Did you use their shoes and clothes, or did you bring your own?
I brought my own, but they do. Yeah, I mean, the Weston does it up right. You know, they have that smell that I love that I'm thinking about pumping into my law office because I think it's so addictive. And I'm drinking that bottle of water that you mentioned. I just think they do everything right. I think they've really thought through the travel experience. And I've only had one bad experience at a Weston, and that was in Tampa Bay. It was one that they had just bought, and they were remodeling it. So we went to the other one in Tampa and had a great experience.
Yeah, and just so people know what we're talking about with the clothing. So if you want to run at a Weston, all you have to do is you have to call downstairs, tell them your shoe size and your shirt and short size, and they will deliver and put on your door some clothes. And all you have to, you run in them. I think it's $5, super cheap. You run in them, you put them back on the door, and they come pick them up. It is awesome. I think you're right. I think that from start to finish, they completely have thought through the process. And I think that that's something we should probably do in our own practices.
I think it's really instructive for lawyers. I think lawyers can have a lot to learn from the service industries, especially hotels. You know, my man Dean Jackson would talk about the stuff that goes on the stage and then the stuff that goes on backstage. And you really, if you envision the times that you interact with your client and try to maximize it for them to give them the best experience possible, then that's going to give them something that's remarkable when they're thinking about referring you.
For sure. Well, today we are talking about basically, in a nutshell, and this actually goes along with what we're talking about with Weston, you know, if you are the best, don't be afraid to say it. If you're not, why aren't you? Do you want to explain, you had come up with this topic, do you want to explain kind of what we're talking about?
I think that any lawyer in any practice area has almost an ethical or moral obligation to be the best in their field. I think that if you are not striving to be the best immigration lawyer, personal injury lawyer, bankruptcy lawyer, divorce, whatever, that you have got to be constantly striving to improve your practice, to improve your knowledge base, and to improve your systems. If you're not doing that, then that's a real problem. And if you are doing that, then I think it's perfectly okay for you to use that in your marketing. And you might not be the best lawyer for every kind of client, but once you've identified your target client, your avatar client, then I think you owe it to yourself and to your client to be the best. And then I think that can come through in your marketing, in your consults, in your practice, in your request for referrals.
So it's funny, there's two things that I kind of want to address with what you just said. The first part is becoming the best if you're not the best, so striving to be the best. I think it's hard for anybody to disagree with that statement, but I think what happens is that people they get comfortable, and they think that they kind of know their practice area and they stop learning. And that's a bad idea. And so I think it's extremely important. That's why we do CLEs, things like that. But get outside of your comfort zone and learn some new techniques. If you try cases like I do, get out and learn some reptile techniques or some other techniques that may help you learn some new deposition techniques. You don't know everything. Things are changing constantly. So I think that's extremely important. So I think most people, whenever they're listening to this, are going to say, well, yeah, you're right. Yeah, of course you need to be the best. You need to strive to be the best. But what are you doing to become the best? So that's what you've got to ask yourself. What am I doing to continually strive to be the best? Am I going to seminars? Am I learning new things? The other thing I want to talk about is you were completely right. We do have an obligation to say we are the best. I think the reservation of what people are going to say is, but we're different. They're going to say, but we're different. We're attorneys. We can't say that. We can't say we're the best because of the ethics rules. We can't say that. But I think you and I would agree. There are ways of pounding our chest, say, hey, we're the best. I think the protection to the client. So if there's resistance, if you're listening to this and there's resistance, I want you to think about the people in your niche practice area. So let's say it's Jimmy and with immigration. I'm sure you know a lot of immigration attorneys or people that say that they're immigration attorneys that are terrible attorneys. And so your obligation is to tell people, hey, I'm the best because I'm striving to become the best, or I am the best because I put in the work to know everything. And so if you've got this reservation of I shouldn't do that, you're protecting the clients because you're putting in the groundwork to do the best job for these people. And in a way, you're protecting them from these posers out there that say they do everything and they don't really do anything very well. Anything that I just said there that kind of hits on anything for you?
Absolutely. And I guess I want to emphasize, I'm not talking about like putting up a billboard saying that you're the winningest lawyer. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is...
Oh, shot across the bow. I know that.
is the mindset. Okay, so and here's why it's so important. If you don't feel like you're delivering the best client experience and the best representation to your clients, then that's going to impact your mindset when you're meeting with clients. It's going to telegraph that you feel shaky about what it is that you do. But yeah, if you are the best, or if you're striving to do the best job possible, and if you think you are better as compared to, as you call, posers who maybe are not as good as you, then I think that you do sort of have a moral obligation to protect your clients from those other attorneys. And I think that you need to fight for the representation. I think you really want to show that you are the best and to tell people, you know, what it is that makes you different and why your experience with you is going to be different. And I think that it both serves you and it serves the client better.
You know, it's something I do. So we've all had those meetings where we're sitting down with a client and we're just feeling it. You know, we're having that, we're confident and we're getting that client. If I ever have a client, a potential client on the phone, or I've met them in person, let's say they're considering me and someone else that just kind of dabbles in personal injury, what I tell them, and here's the confidence part of it, I tell them, I said, okay, here's what I want you to do. Look me up on the internet, and I want you to call around and ask about me and ask about this other person and do your research. And I'd say the vast majority of the time I get that client because I'm willing to say, listen, I'm the best. And I don't say that, but I say it in a way where, listen, call around and ask about me. Ask about me, see if people have a good view of me. Look me up on the internet, see what my clients have to say about me. And so that's another part of this is that if you make sure you protect your reputation online in your community, that's going to protect you as well. It's going to help you get those clients. It's going to show the clients that you are the best, that you take basically your reputation very seriously. So you're going to work even harder for that person. Because if you do have a very, very good reputation, you take that reputation seriously, the clients know that because you've done a lot to protect that by taking care of those clients. You're going to do everything you can to take care of those clients to make sure that your reputation remains intact.
I think you raised a really good point, and it's one that comes up in consults, and it takes a certain experience level and, you know, having sat through a number of consults with clients, and that is that when you meet with a client, I think you absolutely have to be able and willing to turn away the client or to telegraph to the client that while you'd be very, very happy to represent them, if they don't hire you, it's not the end of the world for you. You're not going to jump off a bridge or be sad because someone chooses not to have you represent them. I think clients can smell it a mile away when an attorney is desperate to get a case. And I think that, maybe at first you have to do a little bit of posturing, but I think that if you make it clear to the client that you'd be happy to represent them, but if they don't choose to do business with you, you're going to be just fine. I think that really is a powerful sales technique.
Yeah, and something that goes with that is your fees. Don't lower your fees. If they're shopping, let them shop. Tell them that. Say, if they ask you, will you lower your fee? Just tell them no. Say, I worked my butt off for a reason. My fees are set at a rate for a reason. And so I don't deter from it.
I always like to say that clients come into your office the way that they're going to be as clients throughout your representation. So if they're late to their first appointment, if they come unorganized or bring you a bag of documents and they're sort of haphazard about things, and that's how they're going to be throughout. And I think that's also true for the attorney. I think that if you meet with a client and they're going to want you to be their advocate, to be, in your case, fighting with an insurance company over money, and if you're willing to fold in that very first consult, then you're telegraphing to them that you're a pushover and you're going to fold when the insurance company's sort of holding your feet to the fire.
Absolutely. Another part of what you were saying is it's how the client presents themselves and it's how the attorney presents himself. If you're the best, act the best. Don't be a slob. I almost feel like we're being their mothers talking on this, but it's a part of it. Part of what you're doing, part of what your marketing is. If you are the best, you need to act that role. You need to play that role. Part of what we do is playing a role, especially as a trial attorney trying cases. I have to play a role. You as an immigration attorney, we were just talking. It's really kind of funny. You were playing the role. I was asking you what you were doing in Cincinnati, what your role was. And you said, well, a lot of these, sometimes all I have to do is I have to sit in the back and crack jokes. Well, that's your role because you are trying to make this process as easy as possible. Make sure that what do they call it? An officer that's reviewing them?
Yeah, immigration officer.
You have to make sure that immigration officer is happy, is in a good mood because you want them to approve your client. So you're